Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're going to break down a really fascinating paper by Tanya, Klowden and Terence. It completely re-examines our relationship with AI, and honestly, it proposes a whole new way of thinking about our place in the world. So yeah, let's just dive right in.
So, right off the bat, the authors frame what's happening right now as a massive historical shift. They point out how AI has gone from this quirky novelty to a vital resource to, well, a potential existential threat, all in record time. It's all being driven by these tools that are just weaving themselves into every single part of our digital lives.
And this gets us to the absolute core of the problem, what the authors call a Faustian bargain. It's this idea that we've collectively made a deal. We're giving AI access to our data, our jobs, our decisions, and in return, we get this promise of incredible power, more efficiency, and, less work. But we've rushed into this deal without really stopping to read the fine print.
So let's really unpack that bargain. Because sure, the technology itself might be neutral, but the paper argues that the way we've deployed it so rapidly, so unchecked, into basically every corner of society, well, that's anything but neutral.
Think about it. With older technologies, society had time to debate them, to figure out the rules. But AI is moving so fast that our philosophical and ethical conversations just can't keep up. The genie is well and truly out of the bottle. So the conversation has completely shifted. It's no longer if we should use AI, it's how on earth do we coexist with it.
Now, to get a handle on this huge, complicated problem, the authors suggest we do something pretty clever. They say, let's zoom way in on a controlled environment, kind of like a sandbox, where we can study AI's impact in a more isolated way. And that sandbox is the world of mathematics. So why math? Well, because it has objective standards of proof. A theorem is either right or it's wrong. There's no gray area. This lets us see with total clarity how an answer from an AI, even a correct one, can be fundamentally different from true human understanding.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The authors talk about how human mathematicians have this smell test. They can tell if a proof has real insight, if it tells a story about why something is true. An AI, on the other hand, might spit out a proof that is 100% correct, but odorless. It shows you that something is true, but it doesn't give you that aha moment. It teaches you nothing. And this brings up a huge question, right? Is getting the right answer even the point if we don't learn anything from it? I mean, the whole goal of a field like math is to expand our understanding. A flood of correct but totally meaningless results could actually get in the way of that. Okay, so let's take what we just learned from that abstract little math sandbox and zoom back out to the real world. Let's look at the very real consequences and start to tally up the actual price of this Faustian bargain we've made. The paper lays out some major costs. We're seeing skilled workers being replaced, creating what you could call a new class of Luddites. We're seeing the digital divide between the AI haves and have-nots get wider and wider. Then there are the huge, often hidden environmental costs, all the energy and water these systems consume. And then there's this really scary idea of AI collapse, where AIs trained on their own synthetic data just get weird and unhooked from reality, creating this feedback loop of pure nonsense. So, if we're stuck in this bargain, what do we do? How do we move forward without everything falling apart? Well, the authors don't just point out the problems. They actually propose a pretty practical, step-by-step approach for how to live with AI. Okay, so for the short term, they suggest what they call a vanilla extract approach. Use a little bit to enhance your work, but not so much that it totally overwhelms the original flavor. In the medium term, they talk about a red team approach. Use AI to test and check our work to find the weak spots, not to replace us. And for the long haul, well, for that, we need a whole new philosophical view. And this is where we get to the paper's final, truly mind-expanding idea. It's a fundamental shift in how we see ourselves and our place in the entire universe of intelligence. So first, just think about the Copernican revolution. For centuries, we were absolutely convinced that the Earth was the unique, special center of everything. And then Copernicus came along and showed us, nope, we're just one planet orbiting one star in a universe filled with galaxies. What the authors argue is that we need to do the exact same thing for intelligence. We need to move away from this anthropocentric view where human thought is the center of the universe and start accepting that our intelligence is just one of many possible forms out there in a vast cognitive cosmos. Now, it's really important to get this next part. This idea doesn't make us less special. I mean, realizing Earth wasn't the center of the universe didn't make it any less important to us, right? This cognitive shift just lets us stop trying to defend our special status and instead lets us focus on what makes our own intelligence unique, what makes it valuable, and how it can complement other forms of intelligence. And that leaves us with this final, really provocative question. If we aren't the center of everything, then what is our unique role? What are our specific strengths? We're moving from a world where we thought we were the only actors on stage to one where we're partners, explorers in this huge, diverse cognitive ecosystem. And figuring out our new place in all of that, well, that's the great challenge of our time.